Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Major HIT 60, their HIT 60. And this is an awfully nice tool. And like many tools that are related to locksmithing or related to installation or modifying doors and frames, every tool that you may end up buying ends up being really expensive, but usually far superior when compared to doing it by hand. Now this tool is for drilling what we would call a raceway. The Major calls it Drill Guide for Electrified Lock Wire Run Through Door. Raceway is what we would call it. And door manufacturers are going to know it as a raceway as well. In the world that we're living in now, access control is increasingly, very slowly, but absolutely surely, taking over. And you can go to the oldest cities in the United States and see access control everywhere. When I'm in Manhattan, a very old place. I mean, Manhattan was a city when George Washington, before he was president. You go there today and you're walking up and down the streets, obviously more residential streets, where you'll see homes that have access control. You're going to see commercial places that have access control. These residential places, they've got doors that are decades old, and there's an electrified lock on it, no doubt. Well, the power's got to get to that lock somehow. Some basic dimensions we're going to talk specifically. The overall height of the tool, about 7-inch. The overall width of the tool, looks like it's about 9-inch. The overall projection of the tool with the knob, just how it comes out of the box, is at about 6 1/4. And let's do this. Let's talk specifically about why you're going to use this tool. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. So, drilling a raceway into a door is what this tool will help you do. And a raceway is basically a hole through a door, or it's a piece of conduit through a door. In this, related to this tool, it's going to be a hole through a door. If you have a hollow metal door, if you order a hollow metal door from the factory is very likely going to give you a piece of conduit through the door, okay, that you can run the low voltage wires through, or the 18.2 or 1810, whatever you're running through it, down to where that hardware needs to get the power. So there's going to be depending on the power transfer, there's going to be some sort of connection between the power transfer prep and the edge of the door, or in the face of the door, to a piece of conduit that's going to allow you to push that through, and the wire will exit right near where the lock needs to be. Can you order a raceway from the factory without a conduit? I don't think you would want to do that, because the core is probably going to jam you up trying to stick the wiring down through there. So a conduit's how that's going to be. With a wood door, there's no conduit. And really what it is just simply a hole that's been drilled through the door. Now, I have drilled raceways in my life. I have done a handful of them. And I've done them freehand. And I've done them, the majority of time is freehand. I've done it with an elaborate tool. There is another company that manufactures a tool that is used for people like myself who are what Intertech calls IQP, Intertech Qualified Personnel, and there is an entire approved apparatus for drilling a raceway through a fire-rated door. It should be said, this is not for drilling in fire-rated doors. Probably two reasons. Probably one reason. The first reason I was going to think of is when you are machining fire doors, whether it be creating a pocket, okay, or any type of work where you get into the mineral core, the white whitish, dusty powder. When that gets on tooling, it destroys your tooling. It will get into the screws that are here, and it will prevent you from cleanly rotating this in and out. If you have a mortise pocket maker, or if you have a $1,000 Porter Cable, it might be their 513 mortise pocket maker, all the way up to a $200,000 CNC machine, that particulate is going to foul the machinery. When we would do preparations on fire doors, it's a two-person process. One's got the shop vac capturing it as soon as it's created, and then the shop vac, has to get serviced, cleaned, maintained. So the first reason this is not for a fire door is because it's going to foul up the tooling. It's going to get inside of here. Your bit's not going to slide in and out nicely. But the real reason it's not for fire doors, even though you can clamp this on a fire door and you can drill away. There's nothing preventing you from doing that, and it will work. But what's preventing you from doing it is that it would render the door, you doing that operation in the field, either freehand with this tool or with the other tool I've mentioned, you will render that no longer a fire door because you have performed an operation on it in the field that is not permissible by NFPA 80. So in order to legitimately prep doors so that you don't violate the integrity of the fire rating of the door, you end up becoming licensed to do that. I'm licensed to do that. The only reason I mention it is because I had referred to that other tool. It's a much larger apparatus that clamps on the door and allows you to drill through very, very accurately. Anyway, so that's the reason this isn't for a fire door. And the manual tells you right on the cover, intended for use on non-fire rated doors only. Later in the manual, which we're going to go over, it says, bear with me. We will bump into the reference. It basically makes a reference to drilling fire-rated doors. If you're drilling a mineral core door, cut the drill speed to about 400 RPM. So I'm thinking that this was always intended for use on fire doors, except that it was probably determined that technically using this, when I say technically, I don't mean it's okay to do it, but it's a technicality. You can't do it. If you do it, you're going to destroy the fire rating of the door. You're going to render it a non-fire rated door. When an IQP does it in the field, you are literally adding another label to the door to state to the inspector, this operation has been done in the field by a qualified person. You've demonstrated proficiency, you've passed the written test, and you've paid your money. Okay, you've bought the tool, you've paid, you maintain your membership. So I've done raceways by hand, and I can tell you that being very experienced in a wood shop and prepping wood doors for every conceivable piece of hardware, from a butt hinge to an olive knuckle hinge to overhead concealed stops and holders, exit devices, function holes, floor closers, everything, lights, light kits obviously, it does make you a little nervous because you've got a really long bit that there's really no way for you to be super accurate. Okay, and the possibility of that bit getting right to the underside of the veneer is a real possibility. I have some people, in my shop, I have seen people breach right through the face of a door. That door is destroyed. It's making such a racket when you're drilling, you can't tell if that racket is something to be concerned over. Is it just the bit cutting the urea chip core, or back in the old days, because we were a licensed machine shop, are you just hearing that ee as you are getting through the mineral core? You don't really know if you're close. So I'd have the once I was pretty far into the door, I'd have my hand on the drill bit, but then touching the face of the door to sense if I'm getting close to the face. And that's just no safe way to do this. I suppose if you've got, a cheap rotary natural birch door, fine. If you're dealing with pre-finished 90-minute plain slice select maple slip and run match, you might want a more elegant way to do this. And this Hit 60 gives you that elegant way. So it's a very simple tool. You clamp it onto the door. That much you can figure out. Okay. This is for 1 3/4 thick doors, and the reason I say that is I'm sure it will fit down to a much thicker door in here, but the situation is the position of this is going to be based on 1 3/4. Could you, I suppose, remove this? Yeah, you could, and pad it off the door by 1/4 inch if you were doing 2 1/4. I suppose that you could. I've never done it. Don't take my word for it. I'd have to investigate if that was possible. But this is going to be made for 1 3/4. So what you have here is, and you may not be able to do it. I don't know if you can. But this guide has these 2 Allen drive screws that you can loosen, and you can pivot this up or down. I forget the degree. It might be 15 degree. We'll talk about that. That's going to allow you to drill a hole from that middle hinge to the pocket. Okay, here's my hinge. Okay, and here's my lock. You'll notice it's not here where I'm going to drill a straight hole. It's probably going to be down here. If you've got a 7.0, let's go old school. You got a Kiwani 7.0 that's at 39 5/16 top of the door to the top of the middle hinge. Well, that lock's going to be at 43 9/16. Okay, so that hole is going to have to come down on an angle. So this gizmo pivots to account for that. The guide. How do you know you're at the right? How do you know that you are at the right sort of angle? Well, that's easy. What you're going to do is, there are 2 holes here. They give you a 3/8 piece of steel rod. You're going to stick that down into the primary hole, and you're going to place that where you want your drill bit to enter. You're then going to take your drill bit and stick it through this hole, and now you're dealing with a 4-foot long drill bit, right? And you're going to push that through there, and the end of the drill bit's going to end up right where you want it to end, and that's how you'll set the angle, by using your drill bit as the guide by which to set that angle. Once you know you've got the angle set, tighten it up. Remove this. Then you can go about drilling your hole. T-handle Allen wrenches included, by the way, for adjusting that. You're going to need to adjust this on your jobs. Because it's all based on where are you entering and where are you exiting. That's it's probably not going to be 0 degree. Although if you were doing 6/8, it's going to be pretty close, for some manufacturers. And this tool, while, as I had said earlier, it's expensive, but freehanding it, unless, I don't recommend it, even for someone at, I've machined thousands of doors before I freehanded a raceway, and I never destroyed a door, but I realized, and the reason I did it is because at that moment, I only knew that I would have to order the door from the factory for a raceway when they're going to create that door when it's manufactured. I was not aware of a tool. If I was going to do 1 or 2, I'll be honest, I would do it by hand. If I was going to do more than that, I would build me a template. I would build me a contraption that would allow me to, I could build it easily out of wood in a pony clamp, and I could get a drill insert, a drill bushing, and I could have easily have done that, made my own template. Now, the point of this type of tool is maybe not for me to use it, or maybe not for you to use it, but this tool allows the ritualization of the process. What I mean by that is, you've got 20 doors to do, and you've got one person who's going to do it, and that person does not make a living doing only door hardware. They might be a painter. Or they may be someone with less experience. But you could show up to the job and set the pitch and say, here's how you do it. So by ritualizing the process, you're dividing out of that equation the potential for error or mistake. Unless you're going to do it all yourself, you know what I mean? Lock installation kits, any installation aids or templates allows people to do the job with less potential for error. That's exactly what this is for. Let's switch to the screen view and let's go over the installation instructions. I'll admit now it's most of what it's everything that I just said, but we'll go through the document. So let's do that now. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now let's get back to it. Okay, here is the item that we are looking at. The HIT 60, that's what it looks like. That drill bit is not included. There are no drill bits included with this. Drill guide for electrified lock wire run through door. HIT 60 drill guide provides an easy and accurate way to drill the wire raceway required for electrified locks. Simply drill from the hinge cutout to the desired location on the opposite side of the door. In most cases, the door can remain mounted in the jamb. Yes, I would definitely agree that once you take that hinge off the door and the frame, you should be able to clamp this onto a hung door. Needs to get out to about 100 degrees for clearance. The HIT 60 drill guide can be adjusted to the angle from the door hinge to lock. Both drill guide and clamps are rubber lined to protect the door and provide a positive grip. Standard HIT 60 will drill an 1 3/4 thick door with a 3/8 diameter hole. A 48-inch carbide drill bit is supplied with the HIT 60. I do not believe that that is even remotely accurate. And I say that because this last order that we received did not include the drill bits. Now, as I'm looking and digging deeper into the question, I get to the manufacturer's website where it does clearly indicate that it is supplied. So I've contacted the manufacturer and I've asked for clarification, and I will update. This will either stay the same or this will change, that it's included. I don't have one. It's not inferred in the installation instructions that it's included, and I'm suspicious that it is, because including drill bits in a lot of the tools, the installation aids that they sell, is not what I see. And it is not inferred here that it is included. Anyway, I'm going to update that if it needs to be updated. Otherwise, what I'll do is I will add what I'll do is this. I'm going to, later in this video, I will discuss exactly whether or not it's, because by that time I will have received an answer from the factory. So right now we'll leave that as an open question. Intended for use on non-fire doors only. We discussed that. Absolutely. Okay. Sold as each. When you buy one, we'll ship you one. Here's a picture from the factory. Now I have some images here that I took, and those will be linked to down below as well. Just showing you different perspectives on the tool. Your 3/8 rod, your handle. Okay. Now, link below this video to the manufacturer's page right here. Installation instructions. Let's click on that, and we're going to go through this document. First of all, it's 8 pages. Why? They use really big font and lots of pictures, for which I'm very grateful. Yeah. Okay, so always use eye and ear protection. I'll add to that. Wear a dust mask. Breathing in microparticulate is going to affect your lungs 20 years later, and I'm speaking from actual experience. Just disclaimer, eye and ear protection. Key features for adjusting the drill. The drilling angle can be changed with the 3/16 hex key by loosening the screws and pivoting the block, just like they're showing here. So what you're going to do is you're going to mark on your hinge. Well, let's go through it. Mark location on the full mortise hinge prep for the desired wire port location. Refer to the Electrified hinge manufacturer template and instructions for location and allowable wire service channel diameter and depth. Well, let's do that. Let's take a look at a typical template for an electrified hinge. Assuming I have one. Yes. No. Yeah, here we go. Door and frame template. So this shows you they want a 5/8 hole there. Or at least they want a 5/8 hole in the edge of the door and the frame plate, the hinge reinforcement is what they're showing. Now, if you're going to run, wires down there, 5/8 is an awful big hole. I don't think it needs to be that great of a diameter. Let's take a look at see if I have a template. Yeah. So your door leaf, 5/8 hole. Your frame leaf, 1-inch hole. So you may need to drill a 5/8 hole a little way by hand, but I'm pretty sure a 3/8 hole is going to work just perfectly for any amount of wire that you'll have to run through the door. Even if you have, electric dogging, you have a request to exit switch, you have latch bolt monitoring, you're running power to trim, you're not going to, exceed so many, you're not going to bring so many wires that you can't fit them through there. So here's a couple of templates that we took a look at. A 3/8 rod supplied, inserted into the hardened drill guide right here to show where you're going to make that hole. Okay, it's not a drill bit, it's just the steel rod. Let's jump because I want to stay in context. So you'll then, when you've got that steel rod positioned where you want the hole to start, that outer hole, you'll run your drill bit down and you'll get it placed to right where you want it. That's how you'll set the pitch of this. Okay. Now, standard electric hinge prep used by most manufacturers, typically a 5/8 hole, 1.5 deep for the wire service connection. Now, the wire service connection is just a pocket where the wires are connected. The McKinney Power over Ethernet has this funny prep. The full-length drill bit inserted in the drill guide by having a 3/8 rod and drill bit inserted at the same time. You can see where the drill bit will make contact to the door and where the hole will end up. With the drill bit going across the door, it is a good idea to use a felt tip pen to make a mark on the drill bit so that you know that you've gone far enough in. Now, I wouldn't suggest that. I would just put a piece of masking tape and stop when you get to the masking tape. Okay. Although I wouldn't use a black magic marker for that. I wouldn't permanently mark my tools. But I also wouldn't run that masking tape into the drill bushing. And you get the concept, meaning you're going to know when you hit the masking tape or the black magic marker, you'll know when to stop. There's no reason to keep going because you won't be able to see where you're exiting. Here is the operation. When drilling wood composition doors, use a drill speed of about 800 RPM. Do not exceed that speed because you're going to heat up the adhesive that's in the door, the urea glue that holds the particle board together, or whatever it is. And that's going to be bad for your bit. It's going to serve to wear it down. Drill only to a depth of 1 inch to 1.5 inches with the drill bit still running. Pull the bit out completely to clear the hole. If drilling a mineral core door, that's obviously a holdover. Cut the speed in half. Note the use of proper eye and ear protection. Now, if you're a licensed shop, you may be able to do this operation. You'll have to check your procedures to see if you're permitted to do it. Once you have the drilled about 1/4 of the way through the door, run the bit to the bottom of the hole and pull completely out with the drill bit still running. Do this several times through the rest of the drilling procedure. This will keep the chip buildup clear through the rest of the drilling. So evacuate all the stuff that's built up there. Starting point is a power transfer hinge cutout shown at left. The U-shaped pocket is used by the McKinney PoE electrified hinge. The wire run hole will end up in the mortise pocket shown at the right. Right here. So this power over Ethernet, it must just be a chase to allow their wires. I'm not familiar with that. I've not seen the back of that. A completed wire run will show in that back of that mortise pocket. And that's everything for the installation instructions, or the manual. Now, there is a link below this video, as seen here, to the manufacturer's page, and from here, you can pull up not only all of the major products that we sell by means of this horizontal navigation, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. I would absolutely recommend reviewing the full product catalog, as it will most certainly enlighten you as to everything that major manufacturers and offers. They have a very comprehensive offering of not only door installation tools, but locksmithing or locksmith security hardware as well. So if you're someone who's out in the field, you'll want to know Major and what they offer, because it'll be more than just helping you drill a raceway. It will be surface bolts, specialty locks, as we see here. Cylinder guard plates. I had a client just order some 103s, which are right here on this same order. Reinforcements. As you continue to scroll through, you'll continue to see additional specialty hardware for the security industry. When you get to probably about 2/3 of the way through, not even half of the way through, you'll start to see all of the lock installation aids and templates that they have. 108 pages worth of all of this type of material. I would recommend either knowing where to find this catalog or bookmarking it. Let's wrap up this video on camera. If you've made it this far into this video, you must be determined to see it through to the end, and we appreciate your hanging in there with us and watching this entire video. It means a lot. It takes a lot of work to create these videos, in the sense that it's time taken away from doing other things. However, the advantage for me personally of creating these videos is the fact that it does allow myself to either learn about something new, to reacquaint myself with something, or to reinforce what I believe that I already know. Any comments that you might leave down below would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Hi. On the HIT 60, does that include the 48-inch bit?
It includes one 48-inch bit, yes. Okay.
So I got a couple of them from you late last week, but there were no bits in the box.
The bits don't come. The bits are shipped separately. They won't fit in the box.
Right. Right. I do have a tracking number for. Well, maybe somewhere I do. Do you know that you shipped those both?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Then what I have.
PO number.
Yeah, PO number was. Please process 109585. And
What's the date on that, Rich?
The date on that is February 3rd is the sales order.
Rich, what's your number? I'm going to have to do some digging on this.
Yeah, sure. It's 239 315 7889. And I do see that there are 2 tracking numbers here. Let's just track them right now while we're on the phone. Maybe save you all the work. Which I was there when that box came in. Okay, so that box arrived, and the second one, yeah, 2 boxes were showed as delivered here. I'm going to talk to my shipping guy, and I'll communicate back if there's any trouble. So thank you very much.
Okay, let me know.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.
Hey, Terry.
Yep.
When we got the major in on Friday, there would have been, I grabbed the 1 box, and I said I'm grabbing major. There were 2 boxes shipped here that day, however. One would have had long drill bits in it.
It arrived.
Where's that drill bit box?
Ready to go into stock. The 4 BFLs.
All right, I need that box.
Okay.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
So that is a very happy turn of events. The drill bit is included. We've confirmed that. I assume that it was not. Here it is. The next part of this video is going to be a review of this drill bit. So let's get started with all of that. And we thank Major for their excellent customer service. Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Major HIT 60-3848. It's a 4-foot long drill bit is what it is, 3/8 size. This goes along with the HIT 60, which is the Raceway template or drill guide. Okay. This video is just to show you the drill bit, talk about it itself and what it's used for. The length of the spiral component is about 5 inches, maybe a little bit longer. Okay. This is going to be used to drill this length of bit. Is going to be used to drill the raceway that the HIT 60, or the wire channel, the wire hole, access hole that your electric hinges are going to require to your electric lock sets. Clear plastic tube, couple of red connectors on the end here. It's also going to be used to drill flush bolts as well. Now, I've drilled raceways, and I have certainly drilled for flush bolts and every other size. The diameter of the bit notwithstanding, the 4-foot bit you're really not going to pull out unless you're doing a raceway or you're doing a flush bolt on like a 10-foot tall door. So you won't end up using this often. However, when you have an application that requires it, you're going to need the longer bit, 3-foot doors, that sort of thing, in order to get the raceway through. So the raceway is basically the power transfer, whatever that is, typically a full mortise hinge. It will have 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 wires coming off of it. You're going to drill a hole in a particular location per the template, and then you're going to drill that hole through the door out to the back side of the lock or the panic device trim or whatever it is that you are needing to run low voltage to, or whatever you're connecting a request to exit switch or latch bolt monitoring, whatever requires the ability to send a signal or receive power. And you'll drill that hole through the door. Now, their HIT 60 raceway template is meant for doing that raceway job. It includes this drill bit. So when you buy a HIT 60, it's going to include the HIT 60 3848. I use my 4-foot bit, here it is, I keep referring to it, so infrequently that I've never had to sharpen it. And it's also because I'm, 1.5 inches in, back it out, 1.5 inches in for the good first third of the entire project to evacuate all that material, and continuing to do so, and also at the prescribed RPM. 800 RPM for particle board, half of that if it's mineral core, sort of speed, and being sure to treat the drill bit as if it's an expensive tool, which it certainly is. Generally, I'm going to be using shorter length bits because I'm not drilling raceways that often. I'm doing flush bolts or some preparation that requires a much shorter length bit. But again, there are times when you can't do the job without the right length drill bit. Let's switch to the screen view and let's take a closer look at the supporting information on this HIT 603848. And by the way, 3/8 means 3/8, 4/8 means 48-inch long. Let's do that now. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Here is the item that we are looking at. Not a lot to see here. Carbide tip bit. There is well, we'll take a look at it in a moment. 3/8 diameter and sold as each. When you buy one, we'll ship you one. And let's take a look at the installation instructions that are linked to down below. Now this is for the HIT 60, which is this tool, which I will show you. There it is, showing the drill bit. Now, the installation instructions are here because they refer to the drill bit and how to use it with the HIT 60, how to make sure that you're getting the hole drilled to where you want it to get to. Yeah, I mean, drilling these holes take time and practice. Basically, you know, if you've ever drilled holes and had someone more experienced than you attempt to teach you, they're telling you, let the drill bit do the work. Don't push it too hard. Don't exceed the RPM, or that bit is going to wander on you. The bit will always seek out the less dense material, and when you're drilling through architectural doors, you really never know completely what's inside of those doors. So let the drill bit do the work for you, and if it takes longer than you want, you have two choices: be patient or run a higher risk of damaging the door. I was prepping a door one time for flush bolts, and I wasn't patient, and that bit came right up, and just like a giant whale breaching the surface of the water, it came right up. Yeah, that door was, I had to restyle that door completely, and it wasn't inexpensive. So let the bit do the work. And I have some images that I can show you. There's the label. The tip. You can see a little feature of the carbide nature to it. Okay, going to be very nice and long lasting. And then basically just showing that it's 4 foot long. Okay, so it's a drill bit, great. Not a lot of value, I suppose, in declaring that, but nonetheless you're able to see it. And also there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page as seen here, where you can pull up not only all of the major products that we sell by means of this horizontal navigation as seen here, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. I would certainly recommend a dive into the full product catalog because it will most certainly allow you to familiarize yourself with the 100+ pages of door and frame modification installation aids that are here. Security hardware, locksmithing material, unique items that other people simply don't have. No one else has them. And an example of that I lean into rather often is, anyway, if you're into locksmithing, I love these capping tools because they're wider. They allow you to move your hands away from the hammer. They have one for Corbin Russwin and Sargent. What I was just referring to was the unique item is this, the cylinder extension kit. I have, within a period of a few dozen minutes, produced 3-inch polished chrome Schlage F Series keyway mortise cylinders. 3-inch. You are not getting that from the factory quickly. I did 2 of them in 48 minutes. This platform allows you to do that. You basically drill holes in the back of a cylinder, you tap them, and then you add these extensions, is basically what it is. I think I started with 1 1/4 inch, because that's all I could get my hands on in a Schlage F. Actually, well, anyway, that's not germane. 1 1/4 inch, and then I added a 1 inch and a 3/4 inch, and then I had to use like a 2 1/4 inch long 832 machine screw to hold those extensions together. Worked perfectly. What job was that for? A client had like a 5-inch or a 6-inch thick door, some excessively thick door. The lock was also not centered in the door, and the 3-inch cylinder length is what was needed. You know, it takes time to prep those, and yeah, certainly that's charged for, but nonetheless. You get past the cylinder extensions, and then you get into the lock installation kits and aids. It's about the second half of the entire catalog. Lots of stuff here, and that's, again, on the manufacturer's page right here. Let's wrap up this video on camera. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. So if you have any questions on any of the major components, I do attempt to video all of the material that crosses my desk, whether it be a cylinder guard or an entire locksmithing, or an entire lock and strike installation kit that comes in a big giant tackle box. As I've said many, many times in the past, Major is a straightforward, no-nonsense type of company. This part of the video, there may have been a part of the video that you heard that demonstrates that. That's why we appreciate them so much, because they just keep it simple and straightforward. They clearly have an understanding of the application. They couldn't make their tools without that. It's very, very rare someone who has spent many years prepping doors, frames, etc., for me to say, well, that could have been better. In fact, I can't even think of a time. And locksmithing tools, door installation tools are very expensive. They're partially expensive, I think, because the volume is relatively low, but it is what it takes to go into being able to make those, and that's what Major brings. It's their experience, their knowledge, their expertise, etc. Any questions on the Hit 60 3848 drill bit or any other Major product, please feel free to reach out to us, and thank you. If you've made it this far into this video, you must be determined to see it through to the end, and we appreciate your hanging in there with us and watching this entire video. It means a lot. It takes a lot of work to create these videos, in the sense that it's time taken away from doing other things. However, the advantage for me personally of creating these videos is the fact that it does allow myself to either learn about something new, to reacquaint myself with something, or to reinforce what I believe that I already know. Any comments that you might leave down below would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Now, in the preceding video, that before we got to this section, we clarified whether or not that drill bit is included or not. If you have any questions on the Hit 60 or any other Major product, please feel free to reach out to me. I would be happy to discuss it with you. I have certainly not used every Major tool that there is. There are just too many. And plus, my background of working in a wood shop machining doors was either done by hand, but with routers and templates, or templates that we would make. But my experience comes where I have gone from knowing nothing about the process to being able to successfully interpret all templates and machine for all of the hardware, either by hand, routers, templates, or CNC equipment as well. So the point is if you have a question about the tool that you're going to buy from us, bounce the question off of me, because I'm accustomed to thinking, how would that piece of hardware need to be drilled? You can look at this and say, well, what in the gospel does this do? I have no idea. But when you know about the hardware and what it needs to look like when it's done, it helps you understand what the tool looks like and why it's built the way it is. And clearly the people at Major do. I've only looked at a couple of their tools and thought, boy, I it's perfect, but I may have done it differently, but that means nothing. I'm not the manufacturer. And people who buy this equipment, they know that it is it is an investment in their ability to conduct work. Any questions on the Hit 60 or any other Major product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.